this together. Why Some Black Women Are Walking Out on Religion and Others Should Too, by Candace R.M. Gorham, LPC. So there's multiple stories and testimonies from people, from what I'm assuming is black women. Interesting. This should be interesting. Cognitive distortions. So Candace is also a psychologist, so should be interesting to read up on the cognitive distortions that happen because of religion, and the mental and emotional deterioration that comes as a result of religion. Physical health, interesting, sex, nice. Preface. When people ask me about my reasons for starting the Ebony Exodus Project, a forum for black women who are thinking about leaving organized religion or who have already left it behind, my response is always the same. Black women are the single most religious demographic in the United States, yet they are at the bottom of the totem pole in practically every measure of quality of life, physical health, financial health, mental health, and more. If the Black church wants to take credit for all the good things that happen in the lives of Black women, it must also take some of the blame for all the bad things. You might get tired of hearing this refrain throughout this book, which is an extension of the broader Ebony Exodus Project, because I will repeat it. If readers walk away from this book with an increased awareness of one thing, my hope is that it will be the message contained in the italicized statement above. This part. Black women are the single most religious demographic in the United States, yet they are at the bottom of the totem pole in practically every measure of quality of life, physical, financial, mental health, and more. I was one of those devout black women who really, really believed. From the age of 5 or 6, I always believed. I was sure that God was going to bestow upon me all the blessings the Bible speaks of, precisely because I was a quote-unquote true believer who gave my all to God. So I grew up to be an ordained minister and a statistic regarding my physical health, financial health, and not least of which my mental health. Okay. Notice how it's not the capital G that's being used, it's the small g in here. Okay. As early as age 8 or 9, I started displaying signs of mood disturbances, and by early adulthood, they were becoming debilitating. But everyone, all of my friends, family, pastors, and fellow church members told me that I absolutely was not depressed, that I wasn't quote-unquote crazy, and that I shouldn't even think like that, because I was such a strong woman. I understand now that depression definitely runs in my family, but no one in my family saw depression for what it was. So all I could do was try to bury my angst, and that's what I did for years. My peers and elders at the church only amplified this pattern of denial. Indeed, regardless of whether a person is dealing with depression because of chronic environmental stressors or because of genetics, the church often does not acknowledge how serious a disease depression can be. By the time I had my daughter, the symptoms The suicidality, the anger, the anxiety, the hopelessness had become too dangerous to ignore. Okay. Yeah. I took the frightening steps of seeking secular counseling and taking medication. In addition to the depression and anxiety that was ruining my life, I was morbidly obese. I prayed and tried to depend on God to help me lose weight, but the church to which I belonged did not do anything to help. There was little education on physical health in the church, and more problematically, my involvement with the church did not leave me time to take care of my physical self. I was busy nearly every day of the week, attending services, delivering messages, conducting outreach, attending ministerial meetings, cleaning the building, and attending more services. At the age of 21, I was ordained as an evangelist. Shortly thereafter, I was ordained as an eldress and prophetess. With these positions, I was required to provide street ministry, preach messages, conduct home visits, and pray for church members, and I jumped in full of gusto and zeal for the Lord. After a while, the belief that Jesus is all we need in the world began to lose its power of persuasion. The reason was simple. I educated myself. My story is not unique, as you will hear throughout this book. Many ex-religious women, myself included, believe that education is the most important step a woman can take to free herself from the bonds of religion. I'm not talking only about formal education, although that helps too. For me, a combination of both formal and informal education put me on the path away from religious belief. Their journey began, ironically enough, when I decided to study my religion in depth, precisely because I was having so many troubles in my life. Foreclosure, sickness, poverty. I truly believed that God had the answer for me, but that I must have been doing something wrong. At the same time, I entered a graduate level counseling program, which increased my sense of empathy, both toward myself and toward others whom I had always judged. In turn, I became more open to views I've always found suspect, including views that ran completely counter to what I myself had been actively preaching. Thus, as my studies progressed and I started to see, for example, that there were problems with the translation and interpretation of the Bible, my world was officially knocked off its axis. Okay. Through a long, slow, painful, and frightening process of over 2 years, I moved through stages of being an unaffiliated believer to being a non-Christian theist, to being an agnostic, to finally being an atheist. Facebook and YouTube became my best friends as I interacted with other non-believers and watched religious debates. In addition to being exposed to the big names of the quote-unquote new atheist movement, I was also exposed to a whole new world of freethinkers, skeptics, and atheists. Of course, the most exciting find for me was groups of black non-believers and atheists. I had no idea that such a community existed. Even today, I continue to struggle with talking to my old friends and family about my atheism. While many of the people close to me know that I disdain church and religion, I've never actually told any of them that I am quote-unquote atheist, save 2 or 3. To some, I've said I'm agnostic. To others, I've said I really don't care anymore. I imagine that many of them have put 2 and 2 together simply by browsing my Facebook page, but I'm trying to start using the word atheist more. At the very moment that I am typing these words, I worry about how many of my relationships will be strained and end completely after this book is published. Despite how heavy-laden the word atheist is, I feel so strongly about the topic and I care so much about the well-being of black women that I just had to follow my heart and write this book. Then there's definitions of the words atheist, agnostic, freethinker, non-theist / non-believer, skeptic, humanist. Here, I'm going to pause here. So feel free to pause and read it for yourself. Secularist and anti-theist. And a note about the interviews and research methods. So she's also a researcher. Let's see. So there's introduction. Let me see if... Wait, does it contain all the chapters? Oh wow, okay. So it has until chapter 14. Nice. Okay. Physical health, mental health, nice. Okay, so I might read chapters. So let me know if you want me to read the introduction on religion in the Black community, on physical health, on sex, on cognitive distortions, or one of the Black women's testimonies down in the comment section. Okay, so other than that, thanks for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe. Let me know if you're interested in talks of religion or being child free and all that stuff. Thank you all.